Jon Rahm, the pre-tournament favorite, the number one player in the world, our reigning Masters champion, our Mexico Open defending champion, was I would say flawless, but I guess he made par on 18, which is losing strokes to the field. But Jon Rahm shot a 10 under 61, which started with going out in 29, birdieing 12, 13, and 14, birdieing 17, gets a little unlucky with his drive into the bunker on 18. He just kind of has to knock it out of there. But I just cannot believe how often Jon Rahm gets to the top of a field of 140 golfers.
Yeah, it's absolutely remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. And he's so good that when you start playing, the more golf you play, if we played 90 round tournaments on the PGA Tour, 90 hole events, I mean, if there were 5-round tournaments, I think Jon Rahm might win every single one of them.
He really might.
It's like the longer he goes, he just keeps on shooting, and eventually they start to fall. And today was that day. Now, in both round 1 and round 2, he made some mistakes. Notably at round 2, hits it in the water at 9, makes bogey at 10 right after that. Made it, a couple of mistakes there in that round. And in round 1, he had a couple opportunities from just short of the green with some kind of basic chip shots. He wasn't able to convert on, or wasn't able to give himself a birdie putt on a few of those par 5s. But today was the day we've kind of been waiting for, where he cleaned up all the mistakes and everything went in. I mean, he set a personal record for distance of. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words here, but distance of feet of putts made.
Distance of putts in feet. I don't know.
Yeah.
We know
feet of putts made. Right? He made 156 feet of putts today. 156.
That's sick.
Now it's really good. So he gains over 3.3 shots putting to the field. That was somehow second today, but he was hooping it from everywhere.
The course record that was 63 was obviously obliterated. 61 now, that mark. Jon Rahm, it's the expectations coming into an event at plus 285, coming into an event, Greg, where this field is, very weak by most PGA Tour standards, but still doing this. It's just, he seems to be immune to almost everything, right? He's immune to pressure. He's immune to expectation. It's so fun to watch.
He has learned. He's learned, which is what I love watching, right? He's learned to channel the frustration. And Kyle's talked about this a lot, where, and everybody in the golf industry has. Jon Rahm's kind of hot-headedness, or emotion, if you will, is something that makes him Jon Rahm, but also has cost him in the past. And it seems like he's figured out this ability to channel it and use it for good, right? The 4-putt on the very first green at Augusta National doesn't derail him at all. It sends him in a positive direction. He ends up winning the Masters. You look at yesterday's round, where he's 3 under through his first 7 holes and gives it all back on 9 and 10. And after that, he makes 3 birdies in his next 4 holes and ends up finishing the round at 3 under par. And then all of a sudden today comes out with a clear head, but he really didn't do anything different, right? It wasn't like he just decided, all right, I got to hit it at every flag today because I'm far back and I got to he didn't force it. He let it come to him, and the putts started to go in. And that's ultimately the difference. I mean, he stuffed one on, what was it, on maybe on 4. I think he had a really good iron shot in there. But other than that, he's making 25 footers and taking advantage of par 5s. So it was really quite easy in a way, but it was easy because the putts were falling. And if they don't fall, this is a ho-hum 65. But instead they do, and all of a sudden he turns it into a 61. And really, I mean, two of the better opportunities he had for birdie on non-par fives and not number 7 was 15 and 16, and he missed both of those. That was like a 12-footer and about an 8-footer on those two holes. Two of the better opportunities he had for the day. So I loved watching that aspect. The fact that he didn't force it and was able to get 61 out of the round is just, it's really impressive.
Yeah, you mentioned it. He the shot you're referencing was on number 4. He hit it to 22 inches, obviously cleaned that up for birdie. Now, Jon Rahm goes 67, 68, 61, and believe it or not, is 2 shots off the lead because Tony Finau got it going on his second 9. Hunky Tony was only 2 under when he made the turn. He was only 2 under, Greg, through 11, and scoring was very, very good today. Jon Rahm was applying a lot of pressure. Everybody was flying around, moving up the board. Jon Rahm took the lead at one point. Tony Finau finished with a flurry. Birdies on 12, 13, 14, 16, and 18. He gave one back at 17. But that was really, to me, a great response to everything else that was going on around him.
Now, remember with Jon Rahm, we talked about 156 feet of putts made. For Tony Finau today, it was 35. Now, he lost to Jon Rahm by 4 shots and made 120 feet less of putts made. It just tells you how well he's hitting the ball. I mean, he has the ball on a string right now and has for all 3 days. You could argue he has all year long. Maybe a little better with the driver this week than it's been this year. But as far as his iron play is concerned, it's nothing different. And today, nothing went in, and he shot 65. And I think that's why we always lean towards the great ball strikers rather than the putters. Because days like this happen. I mean, you can have a great putting day and not make anything. There are a lot of variables that go into the ball eventually finding the bottom of the cup. It didn't at all for Tony Finau today, yet he walks away with a 2-shot lead. And I love what Tony's doing right now. He's staying calm, he's staying collected, taking advantage of the holes that he needs to. His short game has been really good when he's been on those par 5s, gotten it up and around the green and into and been able to convert the birdies. He's done what he should all week long. And then he's been able to add in a couple of great shots. I mean, 16, there's something about that second shot that he just loves. He had another beauty in there today, hit a great shot in there in round 2 as well. So he's in a really good place right now. It's been fun to watch.
I think we might have talked about this before, where let's say Tony Finau wins the Mexico Open. And in 2 years, we look back and say, who won the 2023 Mexico Open? Oh, Tony Finau. And I think a lot of it will be, what a crappy win, right? Like this field that's got the third worst strength of field of the year, whatever. However, if he outduels Jon Rahm, number 1 player in the world, out of the strength of field should be like adjusted. Like almost, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it should be
absolutely Rick.
Bigger. It should be bigger than what people are going to remember this as.
I've had this feeling for years. If they had a Sunday top 10 element, who's in the top 10 in the field heading into Sunday, and what's that strength of field look like? Because the same is true with really strong fields. With some of the best players may not play well, and you get a little less than event on Sunday. And look, should that take away from it? No. But when you beat Jon Rahm head to head down the stretch, that's different than this Mexico Open field. So I think it's a great point. I couldn't agree with it more. And this is the other thing you and I talked about last night. For Tony Finau, the quality of his wins, I think, can improve, but it doesn't feel like that's the Tony Finau battle. It feels like Tony Finau's battle is, what does he do in the moments? No matter who he's playing against, can Tony handle himself? And when he does, he can win. And he can close it out tomorrow if he plays the game he's been playing for the first 3 days. And I think he really figured out how to do that last year, and in through the Houston Open this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he, for the first time in real contention in 2023, does the way that he handled himself last year on Sundays, does that carry over into this year now that he's in contention again?